On the night of August 12, 2013, the prosecution alleges Allan Agababa did a sloppy job of staging a robbery and creating an alibi so he wouldn't be a suspect in his mother's murder. During closing arguments, Assistant Attorney General Brian Gallagher recounted testimony from Randall Fulcher and his wife Lealoha. The couple testified that Agababa had called, then visited their home, requesting they help destroy the evidence, which included a gun, laptops, and Agababa's clothes. He also recounted testimony from Bobby Hall Guerrero, the man who alleges Agababa had solicited from him a gun and silencer, or chemicals, to deal with an, quote, inheritance issue, end quote. Later testimony, however, shows Bernstein didn't die from a gunshot wound, but blunt force trauma to the head. This from the island's chief medical examiner, Dr. Aurelio Espinola, who also concluded the victim's injuries weren't consistent with the fall, but someone hitting her in the head. That someone prosecution alleges is Agababa because on the night of his mother's murder, Agababa's behavior was unusual, and while police were still in his home investigating, Agababa made a phone call to his mother's boss at United Airlines.
Shelly bled to death from blunt force trauma to the head. Again, you've seen the photographs, you've seen the hole. She bled where she fell. You've heard some testimony about drugs in her system. Drugs were not going to kill her. And even if they were, 5 minutes or 5 years sometime down the future, it doesn't really matter, because what killed her is the blunt force trauma to her head, the hole in her head that this defendant put there.
But defense attorney Randall Cunliffe argues the government didn't present enough evidence to convict the defendant.
The government says they have put on a case that allows you to find Mr. Agababa guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no doubt that he did this. That's their saying. And so who do they offer to try to do that?
With no fingerprints, no x-rays, or even an idea of what the weapon of choice was, Cunliffe proposes another possible scenario. That on the night of Bernstein's death, Agababa left the apartment to buy cigarettes and an intruder entered their home, took the laptop bag, and heard Bernstein's voice. Alarmed that someone was in the home, the intruder left. Bernstein likely fell and hit her head on something before going back to bed, where she later passed. Cunliffe notes phone records don't show Agababa called Fulcher that night. He also recounts testimony from California-based forensic pathologist Dr. Joseph Cohen via Skype. Cohen stated it was a stretch to rule Bernstein's death a homicide. With no injuries to her brain and only a single strike to her head, Cohen would have ruled the manner of death as undetermined. It's now up to the jury to decide. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.